Hello and welcome to AAU Talks on AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa. In today's episode, we'll be discussing female ascendance within patriarchal context. My name is Abigail Adwoa Nyanne and I'll be your host for today. We'll take a quick break and when we come back, I'll introduce my guest to you and we'll kick the ball rolling. Stay with us. Welcome back from the break. Today I am joined by Dr. Violet Makuku. She is the Quality Assurance Specialist and Workshops Coordinator at the Association of African Universities, AAU, and Project Manager, Hacker Initiative. Doc, thank you very much for joining us today. I'm glad to meet you.
Thank you too.
All right, so Doc, before we dive deep into the topic, I would first of all like to ask the state of affairs of gender inequalities and the evidence that it exists.
Thank you so much. I think, first of all, allow me also to say we have come a long way with our Women's Month.
Yes.
We started somewhere on the 8th, and I think a lot of events have been going on, but we are almost winding off. And so it's important to focus on the send-off words that we can have for women, which can be engraved in their minds to make them move forward. Yes, there's a lot of evidence out there to acknowledge that the gender inequalities still exist, that the gender inequalities really do exist. And among them, we have SDG number 5. That sustainable development goal means a lot to us because it's talking about issues of gender equality. If there was equality already, we wouldn't be talking about it.
Exactly.
But the most exciting one is 25 years ago, but I think we are still grappling with it. There are many things that in policy documents, we have the quota system, but practically, sometimes, in most cases, it's never realized because men continue to dominate and women continue also to be suppressed and suppress themselves as well. Yes.
All right. Okay, so Doc, thank you very much. So now we are also going to talk about the nature and scope of the context. That is where we find gender inequalities most of the time.
Yes. Overall, in our homes, we have it.
Okay.
When things are tough, you find the decision is to take the boy child to school as compared to the girl child. It still happens today in many countries and in many nations we find it happening. And also when you look at it again, when we go to some churches, you know, it's only the men who dominate the activities.
Yes,
Actually, women are supposed to sit and be docile and listen to men. And then I'm just happy to give one example in my home country, Zimbabwe, that 1 year we had a female coming up as a reverend in one of these churches. And from there on, we started having things happening, many females being recognized as pastors and reverends, which means there's room for us to work a lot and change, whilst also our male counterparts accept us because culture is dynamic.
Okay. So Doc, with what you are saying, then also, what are some of the characteristics that women need to check on and have in order to rise and economically empower themselves?
Yes, there are so many of them, but before that, let's revisit again some of the places where we find these issues of patriarchy in play. For example, in workplaces is there. To date, I can't name countries, but there are countries where women still earn less than men, but they are doing the same job today. And in addition to that, it's unfortunate that in other countries too, it's being a woman and the color of your skin and all those Western things. And then we come on to those characteristics that we need. And I'm very passionate about this aspect because it is the one now which will make many women rise and ascend and economically empower themselves. Which are these? Laziness has no room. If you just want to be a powerful woman and find your way up the ladder, you need to be hardworking. In fact, extra hardworking. You also need to check on innovations, networking, interactions, and not feeling sorry for yourself as a woman. Because that is one of the main things which worry me, that in most cases you find women want people to feel sorry for them, that they are women, and they can use that. But sometimes, because people know maybe the motives or what have you, they don't also take it. So we need our self-confidence, and we need to just make sure that we ascertain ourselves with our integrity. For example, in politics or in some other high-profile jobs, when we get to higher posts, people can say you used bottom power, when you know that you really worked hard to get there. So it's your integrity which will save you.
Yes.
Because now you need to demonstrate clearly to the whole world that there's nothing like that.
Exactly.
And also because they know you are vulnerable in terms of being called names. When you are vying for a political post, they can go around saying, this one, she's going for it because she has been promised this, and this one, these men are behind her, and they are supporting her. But at the end of the day, you should know who you are, and then they retract and leave it just because of the labels and these fake stories which are being peddled about them, when they really know who they are. But it's a lot that women need to do in order to make sure that they get the place. They should work hard, and mostly in teams. Also, it helps collaborations, because sometimes they are not economically empowered. But if they are to bring their bits and pieces of what they have together, put them together, and work in sort of cooperatives of small groups, they can achieve more.
Great submission, Doc. But let's take a quick break and we will delve more into females finding themselves in male-dominated environments. Stay with us. Welcome back from the break. Doc, before we went on break, you said women can empower themselves, especially when they work in teams.
Yes.
But I also want us to talk about the strength and what people need to have. If you could use your personal lifestyle growing up as a woman and in your achievements.
Thank you so much. Yes, there's a lot that needs to be done by women. Issues of resilience. It's very, very key to be resilient and to be determined, even in the face of adversity. They need to remain focused. But you remain focused to what? You need to have some goals. Work towards those goals. Prepare yourself even for those positions that we are talking about. And people will see you rising through the ranks. Because now there's a lot of open evidence of what you have been before, how you prepared to be this, and what made you qualified to be who you are. I think it's very important. Women need to be fast thinkers, to be resourceful, and also to make sure that they open up, because I realize that quite a number of women are ashamed of coming out in the open with their circumstances. For example, you may have a disabled child, you may have a sick relative, or particularly a husband, but you will find that if people know, other than and contrary to what most women would think, people will come here and see my sick husband and something like that. they wouldn't help you because they don't know you need help. They don't know what you are going through.
Yes.
So it's those other pockets of support that we need, but we can't get them if people don't know that we need the kind of support. And sometimes opening up to friends, to colleagues, and finding out, researching about organizations which deal with women and help women can be very, very useful and transform women to be better people who can rise up to the occasion and who can also economically empower themselves.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Doc. Also, I would also want us to discuss factors that militate against women ascendants in economic empowerment.
Yes, we are enemies of ourselves. I talked about the political example,
Yes.
that if you just think they are starting to label you and you retract when you know that is not the kind of person you are, then you have lost it. And secondly, you may realize that I said you need to work extra hard in order to make sure that things do happen. If you don't do that, then you will miss it. We find women who keep quiet about lots of abuses that happen, whether at the workplace or in the home. By the time they talk about them, it's too late. Maybe they want to do further studies, but their spouses are just saying, you can't do that before I do it. Or they tell them, what you have done is enough. Our male counterparts, maybe my husband, we have a huge business enterprise. And then it's my husband who goes out daily to do the business. Not me, not the children know about what is happening. Suppose my husband dies all of a sudden or becomes incapacitated. That's where you hear people say he has died with his business. But the actual thing is the woman was not putting more pressure, or just some men may allow you, come and learn what I do in this business. You say, no, we know you do it well, so continue, Papa. We'll just wait here in the house. And so it collapses immediately. The husband dies or becomes incapacitated, because when you get there, the employees are seeing you as a new person. When you get there, you don't even know where to start from. Who are the customers? Where did we get the goods that we supplied? And all those things, I mean, they work against us. And then our cultural traits, but culture is dynamic. Sometimes I want to quickly give an example of what happened in Senegal. There's this gentleman who started putting a child on his back and advocated for it, that men in Senegal should help their wives put the children on their backs and also help with looking after the children. Oh, it went wide and most men adopted it. And now when it has got wider adoption, nobody will label you, oh, so the wife gave him a concussion, so look now, he's just a yes man. So men also are afraid of that. But one other thing which is very, very important is that sometimes women do down each other. We have women who are in top positions who may prevent other women who are coming up to also occupy those positions, instead of supporting them for one reason or another, we don't know. And then there are also women who occupy lower positions, who connive with other men and certain to pull down those women who are occupying top positions. So we are also our own enemies. And with that, I don't know where we can go. In the homes, you know, in my country, they say the home is the mother, or the mother is the home. Meaning that when we have both male and female children, we need to subject them to the same circumstances. If I buy toys like cars, graders and so on, I shouldn't say this is for the boy child, this is for the girl child. They should all play with those toys, the doors and everything, the cooking, the cleaning. I can tell you that as early as I can remember, I've got 2 boys and 2 girls. There's no boy, there's no girl, there's no age issue. Once you get to 6 or 5, already I'm starting to train you how to do the chores in the house. So they should be able to have those life skills, not for boys, not for girls. Boys should be able to cook, clean the dishes, do the house cleaning, mopping and sweeping, and wash their own clothes. The girls too should be able to do that, change the light bulb, change a fuse in an iron. And so when they grow up, there's nothing absurd. When they get married, the men will learn to respect their wives, and also they respect their sisters and their mother, and their husband too. You know, they say sometimes the boys look at how their mothers and sisters are being treated in the home, and sometimes it's ingrained in them. Yet for others, it's a lesson to say, I should never do this, because it's not good when they see the way their mothers are being treated by their fathers, and their sisters are also being treated, maybe in schools or elsewhere, bullying and all those things. Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Doc. All right, so we are coming to the end of the interview. So as Doc said, as women, we shouldn't be putting ourselves down. We should rather be supportive, and so that we can also get to the top as men do. Okay, so Doc, before wrapping up, we want to know the way forward.
Yes, so the way forward is to involve men themselves. I can assure you that women alone cannot achieve anything. I talked about this thing that culture is dynamic. You know, it transforms, revolves like that, and develops. And so when we work with men and they understand our thought processes and they understand what we go through, then the men can help us. I gave the example of Senegal, that Senegalese men. Yes. I can also give one other example in South Africa. I think it was in 2020 or in 2021, where men who were wearing black converged together to fight for women and say that women are being abused in South Africa, and we need to make sure that we avoid gender-based violence. We avoid all this ill treatment of women in workplaces and also in the homes. Some were being killed by boyfriends, and some were all sorts of harassment and all sorts of things that you would never want to hear, or you never hear that men experience those things. So we need to involve men. And like I said, as we grow, we need to include our boys and girls in same chores and everything. Our curricula, from kindergarten to university, we should have activities and content that speaks to the Sustainable Development Goal number 5, gender equity, gender equality. We need to talk about it and to have it everywhere. And also, we should check on what we do day to day. Do we have role models who can be followed? Female engineers, female pilots. We now have a lot of them, because earlier on we were told you can't go into this field because the STEM disciplines are meant for men. And then we need community engagement in the institutions and in homes. We need really good community engagement, that we talk about gender issues. We have drama, we dramatize, we sing about it. As we entertain people, the message is also getting in. So I think it wouldn't be fair not to talk about the Association of African Universities and its role in this Sustainable Development Goal number 5. As the AAU, we are the apex body for higher education in Africa, and we know we need to transform lives through it, and it's upon us to take this goal even well after the month for women and push it ahead year after year in order to make sure that we can achieve. And I know together we can achieve.
Exactly.
Yes.
All right. So together we can. Thank you very much, Doctor. This has been a very educative and insightful discussion, and this is where we end today's discussion on female ascendance within patriarchal context. Follow AAU TV on all of its social media platforms for more content. My name is Abigail Adwoa Nyanne. Thank you for watching.